everyone. Welcome to Talking with the Bostons. I'm Keedron.
And I'm Katura, and you are Talking with the Bostons. We're
Yes.
so glad that you joined us. If you just tuned in, you got to miss us rambling for the first 2 minutes because we did not know that we were muted. We thought we had positive sound check happening. But thank you to our trusty Facebook friends
Yes.
for letting us
That
know
was
and
Blake.
for not leaving.
Yeah, good looking out, Blake and Jessica.
Thank
y'all.
you. Thank you. And thank you for not leaving because we needed y'all to confirm that y'all can hear us. So, give us some hearts or react in the comments. Let us know if you can actually hear us for sure.
Yes.
So we won't be running this back again.
For real.
We should be good, but let us know.
Let us know. So let us know how y'all are doing in the comments. Where y'all at? And how were you doing this season? I know we're getting closer and closer to Christmas. Actually, Christmas is what, 8 days away?
Yep, because next Sunday is Christmas Eve, and we'll be at church.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. You can hear us.
Yeah,
we'll be at church. And Keedron was while we were muted, while we were he was explaining how our building will be closed during normal business hours, but we'll still be there on Sundays. And so we've had to do a lot of the front work and planning because children's ministry pastors and student ministry pastors have a lot of work to do because it's kind of like a church within a church.
Yeah.
So we really do a lot, but we're so grateful that our pastor has said, nope, anytime that you can kind of do some work ahead so you can have this time off to kind of like spend with your family.
Yeah.
Please do that. And so we listened, we heard, and we appreciate it.
For sure.
So that's what we're most excited about. Just, kind of unplugging just a little bit.
Yeah. One thing I love that Pastor Brady says is, she says, and I want to say it right. Don't get so busy doing the work of the Lord where you forget the Lord of the work.
Yeah, that's good. Yep,
and we want to make sure we take time to lock in, and I think we do a good job of that, but it's just a good reminder to not just get so caught up in life and in ministry or work, and being grateful, definitely being grateful for what you have, and what you're doing, but also taking time to be to give your time and focus to God. That's really important as well too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because sometimes we get so caught up in the blessing, where we, I don't want to say forget the blesser, but we don't really focus as much on the blesser because we're like so locked into the blessing and so grateful for it. But it's like, God, I want to come back to you and make sure that I acknowledge you and give you glory for even just the ability to do what you blessed me with, just to live in that, But anyway, I'm excited. Christmas is a week and a day away.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. What are you looking forward to, over these next couple of weeks before the new year?
Easy rest. And here's why. Because also in what we do, and this, not everybody has a string of days off. We come from the world of education too. And so I was kind of used to like having my summers off with a couple of professional development things in the summer. I was used to having to break. So that hasn't been a part of our lifestyle in the last 5 years. And typically, even in the summer, we're going strong in family ministry and we're doing, stuff in the education world. We're doing workshops and presentations for educators, and we love all of that. But it takes a lot out of you. And so every year at the end of the year, we're kind of geared up to hit the ground running for the very next year and not really having a minute. At least for me, I haven't done this well, I don't think, and really having time to kind of decompress and really just rest in the presence of the Lord and get refreshed and refueled because this work is going to start again. And I don't want to start in January only anticipating a break at the end of the year when I know that I'm fortunate enough, we're fortunate enough that where we can have breaks throughout the year, we just have to be more mindful about how we schedule and where we pick our spots. Because we do belong to a church and organization on the employment level that does care about, you taking time off and you taking breaks and things like that. So your planning, is probably the biggest thing. So regardless of what your work situation is, I would just say to do that. But that's what I'm looking forward to. And I say this all the time. Keishan is one of the hardest working men I know, and he's always got his hands in something. He's always doing multiple jobs in any season, and like a true Caribbean West Indian girl, like I'm always working on something. I'm always finding something for my hands to do, and I'm kind of resting in the fact that I don't always have to find something for my hands to do. Like my hands can be folded in my lap, and that's still something for them to do. My hands can be feed my face, and that is still something for me to do. So I don't have to fill every waking moment of my day in life trying to feel like I gotta do something. So I'm looking forward to rest. And I only explained it because I didn't want it to sound cliche. I just want some rest. I'm not a lazy person, but I do want to be a better steward over my time, my life, my physical, and my, all of my mental, emotional, intellectual health, all of that. There's a time for that. So I'm gonna pick my spots over the next couple of days and really like enjoy that and spend time with my family.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm with that as well. Share some of y'all's things that you're looking forward to. I know, some of you may only have a couple of days off. You know what I mean? You may have Christmas Eve, it's Sunday. You may have Christmas the day after. Yeah. So, if you're a teacher and educator, of course, you're going to have a couple of weeks off. Yeah. If you're a student or whatever, of course, you'll have some weeks off. But for those of you who may be, your career and your work schedule maybe isn't,
as flexible
set up, like that. But still, we still want to hear what is,
what do you do with your time?
Yeah, what do you do with your time off? Like, what is that? What is something you're looking forward to? For me, I'm with you on the rest as well. Yeah. And also just spending time with my family and doing little things, creative things. I have some projects that I'm looking forward to getting back to and finishing up. Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to that. It just hit me again, like really realizing like, even if I wanted to go to the church this week, it's just, I won't even, because sometimes I want to be up there to just be in the building to do something.
We love what we get to do.
For sure.
We'll be up there 8 hours, like, oh my goodness, we got to get ready to get out. They get ready to close. We got to get out of here.
Listen, but I won't even have the opportunity to do that. So that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to doing some things with my kids, with my wife. Can you grab that for me real quick?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is putting this together and decorating this. Me and Zoe did one and during 2020. We did one during 2020.
Y'all done a lot, I think. Y'all done at least 3 or 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think this might be the biggest one. Because I think we actually did a we had like a little, it wasn't a contest, but we just kind of did it together.
You kind of did your own. You bought multiple kits, and she made one, and then she needed some help. And you helped her glue her shut and stuff. It was cute. Fun, I just came across the pictures of it in my phone. Yeah. I should have sent them to you because they were so cute, and you had on like this really goofy hat. No, I don't mind sitting it. You had on this really goofy hat. And I think she had like some reindeer ears or something like that. And y'all were just having a ball.
It was fun.
In here. Yeah. And she was little. I feel like she was like 9 or 10 in that photo. I don't think that was the last time, but she was little in that photo. And to think like she's 12 and she's going to be 13 in January, y'all. 13. Like we literally have, like they're all our babies and literally not babies at all. All 4 of our kids. Like we have a son that's coming home for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole nother thing. And then we have one that will be driving to her college campus in the fall of 2024. Yeah. And so during the holidays, we'll have to go get her and she'll be coming home, for Christmas too. So in a minute, we're going to have 2 kids that are coming home for Christmas. Yeah. And so in literally less than 9 months, it'll be 4 of us in the house. So it's like 6, 5. And now there'll be 4 of us. So we will become that family of 4 and have 2 kids, 2 teenagers in the house, a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old. Yeah. So, life is getting a little bit interesting. So more than just what I think about, coming into the end of the year, I've really been thinking a lot about next year. Like I'm trying to be in the moment, but there's also part of me that can't help it. Like, I don't know if I'm like pep talking myself. Anybody out there with adult kids? I don't know if I'm pep talking myself.
Yeah.
So don't think for a minute like, man, they got it figured out. She got her stuff together. I don't know if that's true. I think we're just taking it one moment at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's real. What's going on, Dr. Stewart, man? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Glad you're on here, shall I say. Yeah.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Yeah. Just got my baby this weekend. But listen,
That's
that's
awesome.
real. That's real.
That makes it special too.
It really does. It really does. That's Jessica.
Oh.
Yeah. I feel you on that. It's definitely a different, not season, but well, I guess season, yes, for our life because of raising adult children.
Yeah.
And then them
coming
back and forth and just kind of keeping an eye on them, making sure that we give them their space, but also not forget about them, because a lot of times, even with Aaron, like making sure that we check on him, because he's just going to keep his head down. He working, and
he's good about calling us. Though.
He is. He is.
I remember for a season when he first moved out, I used to text him and be like, if you don't call your mother. And he'd be like, I'm sorry, Mom. I talked to Dad this week, though. And I'm like, you know better than that?
That's
call you mother. Like, what? I called my dad this week, so I don't care. You call me
your mother, yeah. But it's different. But it's a beautiful thing, to see them grow.
Yeah.
To give them that space, to kind of get out the those
I'm a grown-up shivvies.
Yeah.
They gotta get them sillies out.
Sure.
Like, I'm independent and I can come in when I want to. You still can.
You can.
You can be as tired as you want in the morning.
Right.
When you gotta go to work or go to school.
Go to school. You gotta get yourself up.
Yep. You
but just to see them grow and see them kind of make their way. And also like just the seeds that we've sowed, that we've sown, to see some of that fruit, just to see them bloom. Of course, some of it hasn't, become fruit yet, but there are some things where you can see them blossoming.
Yes, you see
in
the
certain areas. Yes, like okay, I see.
I feel like we always knew Aaron was saved.
Yeah,
but do you have look? He has I feel like he's always been saved. Like he's always been a believer. It did not take much to convince him.
Yeah,
but at his age, I think it sure is. Look, it's expensive out there. You can have your independence, but it costs to be the boss. But that part, right?
That, Lord, yeah.
But I feel like every time we talk to him now, like if we don't bring up the Lord, he's gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
Like Aaron is talking about his faith walk and messages that he saw. In fact, I'm supposed to send him a link to a message that someone sent to me. And I was like, this is probably good. I'm going to send it to you. And then we got to talking again. I forgot.
Yeah.
But, it's stuff like that. Like, I know that he's remembering the things that he's been taught. And we've been seeing that for a couple of years because he's been out of the house for probably 2 years now.
21 maybe.
Yeah, two maybe 2.5 years now, maybe. Yeah. And so we've seen that progression in him, just him being more proactive about his faith walk with the Lord, and that's been really special.
Yeah, no, and that's
he doesn't have to. You always wonder like how much of that was forced, or we know we never forced our kids, but if we was at church, they was coming too. I mean,
yeah.
But you wonder how much of that was in them. Did we just have them in church, or did the gospel touch their hearts too? And that's what you want. And as long as we've been serving kids and families and partnering with other families, we've been doing the same thing that we've encouraged all of you that we've served to do. And that's just kind of walk alongside your kids on this journey.
Yeah.
So that they can find the relationship with God for themselves.
Yeah.
And so, that's been really nice. Like seeing Symphonies Walk with Christ is nice. I'm seeing Zion, like how Zion worships is when he's in the studio and he's working on the keyboard, all the worship set, or he's looking for worship songs, for the praise and worship team. We may not catch him in here lifting his hands, but it's because he uses his hands to worship.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of thing. And, Zoe the same way. We hear it differently. Like we hear her say things that let us know, like she's pretty sharp.
Yeah. And then she'll be around the house too, just singing.
Oh, she worships
in her room,
loud.
Yeah.
Loud.
Yeah.
Loud.
But it's a you got
I
that
love
from
it.
me, I'll tell you that.
Oh, facts. For sure.
It's good to see those seeds that, like I say, that have been sown, because that's what I was gonna say, especially for our children that are out of the house, that's when their faith is truly tested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times, that's when either you fall away or you fall further into, fall closer, where you draw closer, to God. But it's really when their faith is tested and they're able to apply that word. And I think that's what we've been seeing even with Aaron, like a lot of things that we've taught throughout the years, a lot of things that he's learned and seeds that have been sown, and the people that are from our village, you know what I mean? Like I know even like Pastor John Coker had a great, had some good influence in Aaron's life, even still now, but
they're still like now I mean, I think he still sees him as a mentor, but now that they're both in like the adult phase of life, they become really good friends, like a big brother, and we love that.
And that's important for their village too, to have people that can hold you accountable, that can still lift you up and encourage you and remind you. But that's what they'll see. You know what I mean? That's what they see when they move on and they're in college. For the seeds that we've planted and the training that we've done. It's just time for us to not just trust them, but trust God, trust the God in them, trust the seeds that we've sown. And so that's a beautiful thing. Let's pull this up. So I think this is Miss Diane.
I hope to check on Mama. Those long turnarounds hit different after 50. LOL. 13 plus one way. Oh,
Understood.
That is.
That'll be great to see Mama.
We're praying that hope, that can happen
for sure. Thank you, Miss Diane. And then right here,
is that Jessica?
Oh, you know what? Thank you, Jessica.
Man, it was such an honor serving your family. That's why we can't let you go. It's like we're family forever.
For sure. I remember the day they all got baptized. Like I saw some pictures.
Oh my gosh, Kamari and Khalil.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Like we remember your babies.
For sure.
We remember, and you being there, and your husband. I gave them prophetic words while they were in that pool in the back of Christian World. I remember speaking into their lives and just knowing, like, just seeing them grow up and just knowing, like, these boys are going to be okay. Their parents are doing what all of us are doing, the best we can. And y'all were in the right place. Y'all were doing it together. Again, like, we weren't, we were never experts. And we never claimed to be. Like, our kids were in Sunday school together. Oh, that's so good.
That's wonderful.
Like, our kids were in Sunday school together. So we were teaching our kids what we were teaching yours. Right. So we gave them the best of what we had to offer. And we were praying to God that it was working for our kids, like, and that it was working for everybody's kids.
Right.
So, we grew up together. We're family for life. You already know.
For sure. And it's such a blessing to serve the greatest in the kingdom. Like,
oh man.
To serve children and students. It's all good. I like your Christmas sweater.
Got bells out.
To serve them and to be able to teach them about Jesus, teach them about the Word of God. That
they taught us about Jesus.
Definitely. No, definitely more ways more ways than one, especially faith too. You know what I mean? Because I think children, of course, the Bible talks about that childlike faith.
Right.
And I remember one time, and this was at CW too. Like, I remember I was standing in front of the children and I was just I was talking to them. I was just talking to them about, I think I said something like, y'all ever had a, time where, you were believing God for something and, it just seemed like God wasn't going to come through. So I put that out there and I'm waiting and I'm looking at their faces and they're just like, no, I ain't never had. It's like, nah, bro, that's just you. And but I needed that moment, but it was a check in my spirit, because it was just like, I'm sitting up here, like, everything that we have poured into these students, these children, and teaching them faith, but then it also reminded me about that childlike faith, about believing and not doubting and trusting God no matter what. It just really solidified, like, yes, y'all, like, and I never I never went there again. Of course, I know that when we pray and we ask God for things, He don't always answer the way we may want Him to answer. And so, of course, teaching them those kind of things, because we don't want to set
God
them
is
up
sovereign,
with,
He has the last word.
won't want to set any youth or anybody up for failure when it comes to that, because God is God. He's sovereign.
He's not a genie.
He's
but that's a funny moment.
Yeah, it really was.
Make you be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm teaching y'all about faith and y'all have it. And if I tell you that when you pray, God hears you, you take me at my word. And that is true. And that is something that we've even, that was probably like 8 or 9 years ago. But even since, we've evolved even in our speech and our conversation with our kids and your kids, in that God always hears you when you pray. The thing is, because He's sovereign, meaning He's all powerful and He's in control, He can answer how He sees fit, and He can answer when He sees fit. But it doesn't change the fact that we can still talk to God anytime, anywhere about anything. And that is true for adults. And so understanding when we say that God is sovereign, He has the best agenda and outcome in mind for us. It may not look like how we want to, and that's okay. But when you trust the sovereignty of God, you know that His no is just as good as His yes. You know His right now is just as good as His wait. And so
that's really good.
And just to break it down, we want kids to know He's not a genie in a bottle. Like, I prayed and He didn't answer. Well, He answered, but He's also sovereign. And so sometimes He says, that's not what's best for you right now. Or, I'm so glad you prayed for your sick relative and they didn't get healing on earth, but they are healed with me. They're resting in the Lord. And so that answer feels different. And I think we our prayers that will have fewer adults growing up scratching their head wondering, what's wrong with me? Am I praying wrong? Does God not love me? Does God not hear me? Does God not care about this thing that I care about? And just kind of dispelling that and saying, no, He cares about everything that you care about, including you. But He is sovereign. So it just goes back to that faith. Like, can you trust me even when you don't understand me? Can you trust me even when you can't trace me? Even when you don't agree with me? Even as parents, we know our kids don't even always agree with us. But what do you know is true? You can trust me. I love you. I was loving you when I was giving you what you wanted. And when I'm not giving you what you want, it's still love.
No, that's real. That's good. The sovereignty, and even also thinking about the providence of God too. Where it seems like things may be going a different direction, but God will always bring it back to where He has purposed for it, and that He's always seeing. You know what I mean? So even when things don't look like they're going the way that they should, even for our children, for our family, just understanding that God has a call and a purpose for someone's life.
That's right.
They're going to be put back on track, where God has them. My mom used to always say, God has you right where He wants you. You know what I mean? And so, I think trusting God in that too.
And I always say He takes into account human error.
Definitely.
So our mistakes don't necessarily change all of His plans. Sometimes we can mess some stuff up, but His ultimate plan for our lives, He is calculated in the fact that we're sometimes crazy. We're boneheads. We don't always see it. We don't get it. But He knows, and His plan includes us not being perfect. Right?
We're human.
Yes. And thank God for that.
And that's not even an excuse, but understanding, I was listening to Pastor Lana today. We were just talking a little bit, and
she helped me out a lot today too.
It was
shout out
a
to Pastor
blessing.
Lana. Thank you so much. You're the best.
And we're talking about students and how sometimes they can feel condemned because sometimes talking to students, they may feel like they're making a lot of mistakes. I keep sinning, I keep doing these things. And one of the things she said was, it's not necessarily about the sin. It's about the gaps in between, how long that gap is before you recognize that you need to repent, or that you need to, come back, you know what I'm saying, and recognize like God forgives you for those things, because the enemy wants us to
Stay
he
separated.
wants to keep that gap.
And
He
that's
wants
what
to
sin
keep the
does,
gap,
is
keep
separate
us
us.
separated.
Mhm.
And so it's really in that, like how long are we going to let our actions keep us separated from God before we recognize, God, I need your help in
Right.
this,
That's really good.
and so
Did
it
you
was just
say
a
that
good
to
way.
them, or were y'all just
No, it was
talking?
just her and I, but I did
Oh,
tell her,
that's
I
really
asked her, I said, you gonna come in here and talk about this,
Yeah.
and and so it'll be great to have her
Yeah.
in that, because also it's a blessing to have our children hear different voices, and to
Absolutely.
it's good to have other adults and
Yeah. That are
young
better, safe
adults and
adults.
other children
Yep.
that believe, that are definitely safe adults
Mm-hmm.
that can pour into our children. And so they know it's not just mom and dad, or it's just not
Right.
this handful of people that
Sometimes
trust and
they
believe.
hear it better when they hear really what it is not just that they hear it better from other people. They respect your voice and they hear your voice.
Mhm.
The thing is, the voice of another is actually confirmation.
Yeah, that's
And
real.
it's really not different
Yeah, that's
than when
real.
we feel or hear something that the Lord is saying to us, or that has been spoken over us, and then
Yeah.
we hear it again by another voice. It's not that we didn't hear the other voice. It's only confirmation because we did hear the other voice. And
Yeah.
that's how we recognize that we're hearing the same thing again. So
Yeah.
when your kids hear something from someone else and you're like, well, what am I, chopped liver? Like, I've been saying the same thing, but then they come along and say it, and now all of a sudden you want to listen. Well, the truth is they only recognize it because you've already said it. Now, sometimes your kids will try to play you, and you be like, I already said that to you. You're like, no, I never remember you saying that. And you're like, you seriously? You're going to look me dead in my eyes and tell me I ain't never said that before? They will try to play you sometimes, and that does happen. It's funny, and you let them live, let them make it. But yeah, that sometimes happens.
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah. What's something else we normally say during this season? We said this to parents and to ourselves. Now, let me say this, not just to parents, but we have said this to ourselves. So aunties and uncles out there, y'all listen. But we've definitely said during this season should not bring you stress, grief, and brokenness.
Man.
This season should not be that. Now, we understand grief in this season because sometimes we experience losses. Even if the loss wasn't in this season, you're remembering who's not at your table this season. You remember who's not at the reunion, or who's not, with the family, or who can't make the macaroni and cheese anymore, or who won't be on the grill this year. You remember those kind of things. Who won't be telling the jokes, who won't be whooping people or cheating at spades. Those are the kinds of things that may come up for you. And sometimes it's just financial. Like, it's been a hard year. And then some people are just at this moment where they're like, man, I'm counting down. There's 2 more weeks left in the year. I can't wait till 2024 because I'm just done with 2023. This year has been trash, right? There's all kinds of ranges of emotions there. But we encourage you, especially parents and those who want to be a blessing to others and buy gifts, don't go broke and don't be stressed out and don't pressure yourself in this season, because the truth is, if you have spent 364 days loving these same people, do not let the commercialization of the season finish you off and make you miss the love, not just that you have for them, but that they have for you.
Yeah.
Because, and I know that's tough when there's an expectation set. We've had years like that where, like, one Christmas was bomb, and then one Christmas was like, we got to settle down and cool it. We're at a phase now in our life with our family where our kids are so much older, and the things that they want all year break the bank. If we could just put into a separate bank account everything that we spend on them all year, they could each ask us for a car probably by November. You hear what I'm saying? They could probably a used car, a cash car. They catch us for a cash car. If we just were putting to the side every little thing that we spend on them, from going out to eat. I can count that twice.
From going out to eat.
If I'm going out to eat. And the clothes and the shoes, and not because they don't have shoes on their feet, but because they want a different pair, or they want new Crocs, or they want the Croc Charms, or whatever it is that your child is into, passion projects, sports, events, just all kinds of things that we find ourselves serving them through and sacrificing on their behalf all year long. Those are things that come up. And some of y'all aunties and uncles out there, y'all are amazing. We love that our kids have great aunties and uncles, but we never ever want them to feel like they owe our kids anything but to love them. If you really want to make a difference in 2024 and not feel guilty when it comes to the holidays and birthdays, make a habit of setting an alarm. Like, do things like set an alarm. I'm going to call my grandma once a week. I'm going to call my niece and nephew once a week. I'm going to FaceTime with the new baby once a week. Or I'm going to call my mom twice a month. You know, I'm going to make sure I check in. I'm going to make plans to visit once a quarter. You know, maybe I don't have money to bring gifts. My travel money is going to be the investment.
Yeah.
But just being intentional and think creatively about how when we appreciate and do loving things that are just thoughtful all year round, like calling and texting and checking on them, you know, I think those things will go a long way. And maybe we wouldn't feel so stressed out at the end of a year where we're already carrying the last 11 months on our shoulders, on our backs, you know. And so if you leave out the new year slumped over, how can you assume that because what is it? Is it the Gregorian calendar? Some calendar says that it's the new year.
Yeah.
That ain't your new year. Every day you say, I'm doing something different, is the start of a new year. It's day one to your 365.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can start whenever you want to. Yeah. But I just know how you leave a thing. Sometimes it's how you enter a thing, and it may not set you up for the best mental, emotional, you know, state to go into your next season. So I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry that was so long, guys. I don't mean to babble or ramble.
No, that's good. I don't apologize. That's good.
Thanks, Cupcake.
Yeah. Next year is a leap year. So it's 366 days in 2024. So you're going to have an extra day next year.
Look, capitalize on that. That's going to be, I'm going to do a sit up one extra day.
Extra 24 hours.
Extra 24 hours.
What you going to do with that extra 24 hours?
That is powerful.
What you going to do with that extra 24 hours in 2024?
It's powerful. Mm-hmm. We need to pray about that. What am I going to do with the extra 24 hours?
Right. Yeah. We may have to.
We need to be meaningful. We need to be thoughtful about that.
Yeah.
I have never. Well, you're smart.
66 days.
You are smart.
Extra 24 hours. So whoever's born on February 29th, I think. And you know what? We do know somebody that's born on the 29th.
We do. Who is it?
I think it's the Davila.
We need to. Yeah. We need to check on that.
Yeah.
That's cool. That is cool.
But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Don't let this season stress you out. Do what you can. I was talking to a father today, or even just listening to a dad today at one of Zion's trainings, and just listening to this brother like really think through his life with his wife and his children, and like really wanting to be a great dad. You know, analyzing his life. You know, he was talking about how he really wanted to really get them locked into a church, you know what I'm saying, spiritually, how important it was for them to get locked in to a church, because he wanted his son, you know, to understand how important faith is and having a relationship with God is.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at this brother and I'm just like, man, like, bro, like this is good. And I always remind, you know, brothers when I'm talking to them, and I did share with this brother today. I said, just the simple fact that you are even thinking about this and writing these things down and planning this is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Because if you weren't even considering these things and considering where you are right now in fatherhood, or just, you know, in your relationship with your wife and your family, that's a whole nother conversation, you know, if you weren't even thinking about those things. But the fact that he's just like, man, I just want better for my family. I want to see where I can cut my losses, see where I can do better. How much can I pour into my son? What can I do to help elevate, you know, his life and, you know, his experience, and how can I pour into him? And so those kind of things matter, the priceless things in this season, to make sure you pour what's priceless. Pour what's priceless.
That's good.
And don't feel guilty about, even if you have the money.
Yes,
like even if you have the money, like really see what that that's about, because sometimes they can be pride. Like I know I've felt that way where I would just really wanted to have something under that tree because, you want to be a blessing to your kids, to your family. But like you say, all year we do what we can, birthdays, if they need anything, they want things, I know, this Five Below store is I like it. I like Five Below. I ain't gonna even hate, but throughout the year, Five Below be, they have a little shopping spree and then kids be wanting some stuff. That be they stop,
They found a way home.
And,
we were in a Five Below.
I know we're doing things throughout the year. Just it's just like, all right, cool.
And
let's
y'all
do
are
it.
too.
Y'all are too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You done took them kids out to eat. You know what? These kids have seen more out to eat than some of us seen growing up because we were
goodness. Oh man.
And we didn't have bad parents. Sometimes it was just like we do have McDonald's at the house. Some hamburger meat at the house. We got some chicken at the house. No, we got some sandwich stuff at the house.
Yeah.
And when we did go out to eat, we were so grateful. Hi, Tyrone.
Thank you, Tyrone.
Thank you. We love you too. That's so sweet of you to say. Thank you. You know what I mean? And it wasn't nothing wrong with it. We fussed and carried on when we were little, but now we understand because when we passing up that drive-through and I hear what they say, I be ear I'm like, did she just say? A minute. It got me wanting to check the receipt. Like, wait a minute, who all got to say? Who all got? You got the meal. You got the meal. You got the meal. Who all got the sandwich?
The other day, it was two.
It was two of us.
It was two. It was. I got something for me and Zion because I think
it was like $30 for just.
It was close. It was about $26.
I was like,
I said, we just got 2 meals.
Right.
And it was like some chicken strips or something.
It was like some chicken and some fries and a fountain drink, brother.
20 cents. It wasn't even.
Don't do them like that. Don't do them bad. Don't do them bad. That's what you're trying to see. You're like, did I upsize my order? That kind of stuff. But we were grateful. We were grateful when I got a $2 Happy Meal. I was so grateful.
Just to get them to stop though.
Just to get them to stop the car. And it didn't even matter. Like I will split this sandwich and these fries with my little brother if we can just pull over to this McDonald's. And now our kids, they're so used to a certain type of lifestyle that they don't think twice about ordering a $12 meal at a drive-thru. By the grace of God, we can afford it, but it's about good stewardship. There are days where we're like, wait a minute. And my husband will tell them quick, your mom cooked or your mom got it's still lasagna in there. We made tacos last night. We just bought groceries. Like it's Saturday, but your mom just ordered groceries on Thursday. Right. I just went to HEB, got all the fresh fruit y'all wanted. Y'all wanted them. Get in there, eat them strawberries y'all was asking me for they get soft. Right. It's like this is about stewardship. It's not about could I. It's like should I. And just teaching them that level of gratitude too, and us not, like you said, checking our pride and making sure it's not us. Like, I couldn't have this. I'm gonna make sure I have it. No, it's not about that. Because our parents probably had it too, but they were smart. They knew that they just went grocery shopping sometimes, or they knew that they were about to, and so they were trying to be good stewards over their finances. So, it's just one of them. It's one of those things where things make a lot more sense sometimes when you look back. And we thought our parents were trying to play us, but no. Like with cereal, I remember when we first started buying our own cereal. Some of y'all grown, you like, I'm buying this and I'm eating as much as I want. I'm using the fattest bowl I want, all the milk I want. I'm getting a fat spoon. And we were like, this cereal is only $4. We thought it was $20 coming up. Yeah. But what happened was when once we had 4 kids and everybody wants a different box of cereal. And now we're looking at a family of 6 and everybody wants a different box of cereal. Yeah. We're talking about $30 on some cereal. Like we about to share these 2 boxes of cereal. Man, I'm going to make pancakes one day, No, we gonna make some eggs and some of this warm-up sausage.
Oh man, and breakfast I don't be minding making breakfast these days. No, like I'll get up.
But you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Like, wait, I'll carry the one $57 on cereal.
Man, the other day I was with Zion and he wanted some Apple Jacks, and it was just like a little small box.
It wasn't the family
and
box.
It wasn't even the regular size. It seemed like it was smaller.
The cute box.
I said that joint was like $3.58. It was like, I wouldn't say it was this big, but
that's how we know we're getting older.
I said, no, I was like, what a family what a family's box set. If you can find that, then we'll get that one. But I'm like, I don't want to pay $4 for that little bitty baby box. When
Right.
the other one was just like, I don't know, it was like
$5
$5 or something for the big one. I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and that's
cereal.
No, but it's just I know I'm goofy, but that was just like that was one of them examples of like how you understand things looking back. Let them kids tell it. They done had us in another house, 2-3 brand new cars because they just they think with their little eyes and their little hearts and stuff.
Yeah.
And we talk to them like, look, this is what we doing, and it's okay. You'll understand, later.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, this is good right here. It's hard when we're trying to balance our past with the blessings of our present. That stop right there. That's good. Our kids are living in the overflow, and it's their normal, but it's our blessing.
Absolutely, we say that
all the
time. I know you can't even run. You tear this office up.
Listen, we talk about that all the time.
Like our 2 youngest kids don't get it. Our big kids,
they're starting to, because we are driving it in there, we're training, but it's like it was the thing that we got to continue to
teach and reinforce.
Teach them and let them know, like this is something, because gratefulness is something that really has to be taught. Right. And trained, and it has to be
because it's really a heart posture. It's not money.
It really is. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, and contentment, and making sure that we are considerate. All of those things. Because we do want to be a blessing. We not just we do. We are a blessing to our children, right? But sometimes it can feel like, let me just do it. And I think that's why just having some pause and just saying, you know what. Let me pour something priceless. Not that we can't, do what you do what you feel, do what you want.
Yes, absolutely.
As far as, where you're at, even in this season, but don't feel like, don't let the guilt of man, I just want to make sure they have everything. Yeah, because, we are blessed. They are living in a blessing and overflow of what God has blessed us with. And we still have to steward that well. We find ourselves talking to our children, even the youngest one, more so the younger ones, about money. You know what I'm saying? And like that, the fact that we have to manage it and steward it well. Just because we have it don't mean we need to spend. That there are some things that it's okay to have things, but it's
like
not
spending,
okay
investing, earning,
all of those things,
all of that. We have conversations with them like that. I didn't imagine us having in a different season of our life, but we do it now because, because we say this too. It's important that we don't just give our kids what we didn't have, but we give them what we did have.
What we did,
and we did have balance, and we were grateful.
Right.
And it's not to say that our kids are ungrateful, but it is something that has to be taught.
Right.
Grateful means I can appreciate the yes, and I can appreciate the no. If I'm having fits when I hear no, then I've not learned gratitude yet.
Yeah, not at all.
I've not learned that yet. So that's the point. It'll never be about the money or the stuff as much as it is about the heart posture. And so you can't teach heart, but you can teach principles and exercises that help strengthen that heart muscle in terms of how they think and process what's happening in their world. And for us, sometimes it's a relearning for us because we don't want to have a poverty mentality, but you can't go from one extreme to the next.
That's true.
Right. You can't go from here to here. Somewhere in the middle is the balance called stewardship. Right. And so we love what you said 100%. We agree with it 100%. So if you want to add anything to that, say something in the comments, because absolutely this is a conversation that is rich,
especially for this season. Like, I think it's definitely something, not an excuse, but just something to be mindful of, because I'll never forget that Christmas where we went into debt because I wanted Zoe to have a little kitchen that she was looking at, and I wanted the kids to have some things. I wanted it to be a great Christmas, and I equated great with things, at that time. And it was a mistake. You know, I did, you know, put my family into debt, and that, you know, with the interest rate of whatever that loan was, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
That thing was crazy.
you know, for a couple of years, you know, I'm just like, Lord have
And
mercy.
the
You
loan
know,
wasn't big. It was literally like, this is enough to do some good Christmas shopping.
look,
And what was crazy was that within the same month, we had 2 cars that was paid for. One was purchased for us. We had just moved into a brand new house. I mean, the kids had plenty. We
Yeah.
had a lot to be grateful for and excited about. And he wasn't by himself with that. I was with it too. Like, as hard as we work, you know, let's just
Yeah.
do it. And we did, that's something we did
Just in
together.
the
And
moment,
we
like-
were exactly 30 years old. I remember it. And we were 30 years old. And
Yeah.
10 years later, we still look back and we think about it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's still a lesson that we only had to learn one time.
Yeah, for real.
And we started practicing good stewardship ever since then. And it has shifted the trajectory of our lives, not our careers, not anything else, not making more money, not having more money. It was that mental posture that shifted for us after that moment.
Yeah,
And so we're grateful that it only took the one time.
for sure.
Because we were out there. So that's why we encourage parents, you know, looking at what we do. Like, you should see when Zoe makes a Christmas list, she does a PowerPoint presentation for us. Well, this year she sent it to us and we looked at that list, and I was looking at like more than half that list. I'm like, ain't nothing on this list.
Yeah.
It's little stuff. She even titled it just stuff for my stocking. Just if you feel like it, you know, get me another one of these. And I mean, I'm talking little trinket type stuff, literally like 6, 7, 8, under $10. Like, I just want another one of these. And can you buy me some more of this?
Right.
And I think she had like, if she could have an option of a pair of shoes that she wanted. And then something that I told her I was going to get her already, you know, is on that list. And so that spoke volumes too.
Yeah.
It definitely said, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
She's content with what she has. She has the lesson. She's 12 now. She's going to be 13 in January. She gets it. She couldn't think of enough things. I mean, this thing is 10 slides long.
And mostly decorative.
And it's just decorative and designed and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that told me a lot right there, that she does get it. She is content. She is grateful. And she has what she needs, because we don't wait to a certain time of year. What we wait for at Christmas is because we know we're going to eat a certain type of way. We know that we're going to have a little bit more time designated to spend with each other. We know we're getting together with family. We know we're watching our favorite Christmas movies. We know that we're going to like bring our blankets. Everybody's going to hang out in the living room together.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking forward to. Like, we had them, Keidron had them right on we have a big dry erase calendar off the wall in our kitchen. And he had them like writing in the names of the Christmas movies that they wanted us to cycle through. Hi, Kenya. Oh, that's my sister right there.
Yeah.
I sure appreciate you, sis. You're a real one.
Thanks for telling me.
Had a list of like different Christmas movies, and we've already started. Before we had time off, we didn't wait for time off. We didn't wait for the kids to get out of school. We're just making the best use of the moments and the times that we have. Like, I'm making tacos tonight. It's not Tuesday, but it's Wednesday. So we're just going to have tacos and we're going to watch a movie. Or Dad's like, you know what? I'm going to stop by H-E-B, which is the grocery store. I'm going to grab some ice cream and some fruit. I'm like, okay, well, since you're doing that, well, let me take out some meat. I'll go ahead and cook something and we'll just make a night of it. Everybody, you know, we're going to watch a movie. So it's just stuff like that we look forward to in this season. That doesn't necessarily mean it's commercialized, but it's more like we're going to capitalize on the time that we have together.
That's
what we encourage families to do.
Make those moments.
Y'all aunties and uncles too. Y'all be out here killing it. Oh, I thank God for my sister. I love you.
Love you, Sally. No, but pull them together. You know, pull the family together. Come through. You know, I'll pull them out the room. You know, even if they're on the game or they're doing something different. Zoe and they're doing her edges.
Oh my God.
I'm like, let's come in and watch this movie, you know. And because I'm okay with them growing up and saying, my dad, my mom and dad, hey, let's come and watch movies.
We are okay with that. Look, he got a karaoke
I'm fine
machine.
with that. Oh yeah.
He bought it. It's for the church. It's not still in our house. But he was like, I think the students would like this. He's such a fun dad. So he thinks of that kind of stuff for his students in church. But he brought it home. He was like, so I need to charge it because it is it's wireless. So he charged it and he was hanging out in the big dining room. So he's closest to the front of the house and all the kids in the back of the house. And I came out and I'm singing and I'm sounding horrible because I just came out playing. My nose was all stuffy. I had dental work done. So I came out a mess, but I was like, and so I said, let's go down the hallway. Let's go mess with the kids. So he unplugged it and he shut it down and packed it up and took it to the other side of the house. And we just pointed it down the hallway. And I went by the kids' rooms and just cracked everybody's door. And he's singing with the speaker. So I have my camera on and I didn't post it because it was just for us. This is again, this was just our moment. But I posted them coming out one by one, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Dad, stop. Zion trying to turn the knobs off, reaching his toes out, trying to turn the volume off and getting rebuked because we made him stop. But Symphony and Zoe being like, okay, guys, what are y'all doing?
Dedicated songs to all of them.
Dedicating songs. And they got me right here. And Symphony was like, not you supporting your man.
Yeah.
And I was behind. I was like, hey. Y'all gonna get this Christmas.
That's what's up, you already know, man. We gotta give it to him, man. The thing about it is making memories, and our kids know our personalities. They know who we are. They know how we are. Yeah. And so,
and you can switch it up for them. Do something they least expect.
That's true.
Because that'll get them too. If you're a quiet, chill auntie, uncle, mom, dad. If you're really chill. You want to throw some stuff crazy at your kids while they're on break, do it. Yeah. Prank them jokers. I put Zoe's cell phone in the drawer with the oven mitts the other day. She came in and she was like, wait a minute, I just had my phone. And I said, no, what were you saying though? And she was like, oh, yeah. And I said, this baby can't even think. She couldn't remember what she was going to say because she was still in the back of her mind but I thought I set my phone down.
Yeah.
So anyway, a whole thing. And then when she found it, she was like, Mom, quit messing around, but it was just so funny to her because I don't normally prank her. Yeah. But when I do, it's never expected because I'm not that parent all the time.
That's the best kind.
I get them. And if they bust out laughing because they don't always see it coming, but they're used to his shenanigans. We all are. It's it's daily. It's not every once in a blue moon. It's literally shenanigans daily. He's singing.
Sometimes it just come in the house and it's just too quiet. It's just too quiet.
Us girls never feel that.
Need just to stir up the atmosphere just a little bit. I went to Tiffany's room the other day and I was like, just a little too quiet. You don't go bring the noise,
Oh my goodness. And she be having a fit.
That's real, man. You got to keep them on their toes, man. That's real, for real.
Yes, you got to push them off. They square sometimes. Let them know you still got it.
Yeah.
Desiree.
Look.
Satellite. Get her. It will be
my goodness.
the best.
Yeah.
We have done just some of the strangest things to our kids, and it's just a fun time. And it's funnier watching them react to us. They know we're silly, at times, but just watching them react or them falling out. When Aaron comes home, at some point he's gonna laugh at something so hard that he's gonna be on the ground. And I know my part. I'm gonna purposely say, Aaron, get your tail up off the ground. Don't support your dad's foolishness. This is why he keeps going. And it makes him laugh even more.
It does.
I already know this, but I do it because it's fun.
Right.
I do it because I know it's going to make him laugh even more uncontrollably because he does support. I do tell them not to support your foolishness, but they can't help it. They laugh. And I'm laughing encourages it. But I do it because I think it's funny too. So I say that for their reaction. And I know how he is. He'll be back tomorrow with something fresh.
Always. Yeah, I might be back later.
You have to know what type of night it is. I think it was 10 o'clock that one night.
It was. I just felt so good. I felt good. My voice was sounding good.
You did sound good. What were you singing? You sang This Christmas.
I sang it.
You sang White Christmas.
White Christmas.
He sang White Christmas.
The Home Alone version.
The Home Alone.
And the deep voice on it, everything. I think I didn't do If You Don't Know Me By Now. That'd be good to do. But
Oh,
I did
you have to get them.
I don't know, a couple old school songs. I did a couple.
You are funny.
Couple
It was
songs.
one from Friday in my mind. I just want you to be free. Have you done that?
I haven't done Silent Night, the Temptation Silent Night.
Okay.
That's the classic one.
That's the classic one. He might have to do that for the kids at the church because we don't have it with us. He just literally wanted to take it out the box and charge it so that he could take it back up to the church. So that's what he did the next day. But oh, funny stuff.
Good stuff. Create memories. Like I say, we can't create more minutes. 2024, you're gonna have an extra 24 hours.
Yeah, what
right?
you gonna do with it?
But we don't know how many minutes we have left, but we can create more moments, and just be authentic, just be yourself. I think that's the thing, of course, our family wants us, our friends want us, we get into relationships aside from family, that God has, the family God has placed us in, and the children, for those of us who have children, the children that God has given us. We don't choose them. God puts us all together.
Right.
But we have family and friends, of course they say the family that we choose, which are our friends.
Yeah.
We get into relationships with people because of the way they make us feel, right? And we get out of relationships because of how people make us feel. Yep. And so just continue to, of course, be authentic, right? Yeah. Because the best relationships are those authentic, those natural connections that we make, and that people like who we are. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so give them
not us like saying like y'all
yeah. Give them you, be authentic, but create moments especially when you think of it, when you think of them, and just lean into that, because that's important, man. That's important. Like
that's so good. You do a good job of that. You you make me think about that a little bit more too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think that's important just to remember for life.
Yeah.
And I love what you say. If anybody missed it, we can't make more minutes, but we can always make moments.
Right. Yeah.
And so the moment is how you handle the minutes that you have.
Yeah. The moments make the minutes count.
Yes, I like that. See, that's even better. You're so smart. No, that sounds even better. But it's even truer. And as his wife and someone who has been a part of his life for over 2 decades, I know this to be true. Like, this is who this man is. And this is who he is for real with our kids and with me, and not just us, like with his family, his friends. If you know him outside of this, like he's that guy. And so I can always appreciate that. But I think,
but I also love, because of course I'm not, I said I'm perfect. I know that. And then sometimes, like I say, I make sure, I believe that.
Yeah.
Sometimes being conscious too, making sure I don't go overboard with, moments, especially if I see, just being sensitive to and discerning too, like if my kids are, or you are, agitated or whatnot, maybe not even just because of me, but just because of life stuff, trying to lean in different ways. If laughing is the thing, at least check it on them, see if they want some water or anything like that. Yeah. One thing I was going to say too about you that I love is not, of course you got the jokes and we have the fun stuff that we do, but also pouring into the kids and making sure that we have those moments, those teachable moments too. You know what I mean? And pouring into them in that way as well. Like when we do those things, that's important too.
Yeah.
Don't miss those moments, to give them lessons on life and wisdom, because we've been through some things, right? You know what I mean? And when I say we, I'm saying us. Like, and this is talking with the bosses. This is
when they're like, "Oh, that's not me," or blah blah blah. Like,
but they need to hear
it anyway.
They do, because the thing about it is,
if it ain't them,
we don't want to leave anything on the table when it comes to what our children need to know, especially if it's something that's on our heart. That as parents, I feel like, God gives us discernment, to speak into the lives of our children. But sometimes we feel, you may feel a little pretentious or feel like, I don't really want to go there with them. I don't really want to grieve them or nag them, fill that out, but make sure that if that's something that you are feeling, to take that time to do it, whether it's right there in that moment. If it's not right in the moment, step back and maybe wait or so, but also make sure you don't miss those moments to pour into them in that way, because they're getting it from somewhere, right? They're going to look for answers somewhere. Right. They're going to look for solutions, or somebody's going to give them a solution that they weren't even asking for.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to
be another voice
to filter those things out, for them, from your perspective, because we just got back from where they at. You know what I mean?
Man.
It's like we've been there, and some of the things we haven't experienced that our children
and won't,
or our, some of our, young people that we may have influence over, or with,
but what do we tell them too? Sometimes, no, everything you said, that was good. But what we found sometimes with our kids, with them having new experiences, I'm really quick to tell my kids, like, I don't have to know about football, and I don't have to know all of your coaches to know and be able to tell my son, if you have to miss a practice, it's showing high integrity for you to get on that phone and text your coach and communicate. Yeah. See, I don't have to play football to know that, but I do know adults. And I do know what showing yourself as a man of integrity looks like. I know that you know what showing yourself as a man of integrity like. Well, he's not going to care. He may not, but it's not about him. It's about you. It's about because I know who's raising you, and I know what kind of man we expect you to be. Exactly. So even if they don't take it well, even if they're like, oh, I don't care, you're going to have to run laps, you're going to take your lumps like a man. You're going to run them laps, but you're going to communicate, because that's what real men do. Yeah. You face the music. And so it's the same thing with my girls. I don't crochet. I've never had a business or done tufting. My daughter, Symphony, is bomb at it. She's viral on social media. Like she knows what she's doing, and she's good. And her work is worth every single dime. I've never done that before, but I do know about business. Yeah. So when I give her advice about business, I'm telling her from a place of, I don't know your business, but I do know business, and I know people. So what I'm talking to you about is going to help you with your business. You just use it within the context of what you're doing. Yeah. Some of my great ideas may not even be coming from me. They could be coming from the Lord, because of how much he loves you. And I'm somebody who's the closest person to you, and you can actually receive it from me. Yeah. So don't be afraid to speak into your kid's life and to give them advice about things, because you feel like, oh, well, this is a different world. I don't have experience in that. There are things that can be, general information that can be applied to their lives in ways that they haven't even made the connections on yet. Yeah. They don't know that there's a connection, because they haven't seen the end of it yet. So they don't know how the beginning connects to the end. And they don't know how your life experience connects to their new experience. Just in the moment, they're like, I got it, I'm good. And that's okay. We want them to stay confident, but we don't want them to be so confident that they don't learn how to take wisdom from the people who love them. Right.
Yeah, that's real.
So we don't give our kids a choice a lot of times in that matter. Yeah. You're going to get this work and this advice.
For real.
You're going to get this work and this wisdom. Right. You can get both in whatever order you want. But
we have to steward that well. You're right. Yeah. That's and it's not always easy. And that's the hard part.
No, that's why I think you get this work and you're going to get this wisdom. Look. Like you can learn the hard way. I mean, you got to work, or you can get this wisdom and I can work with you however you want it. But I'm not going to leave you out here just because you think you know it all. I'm not going to, I love you too much to let you do that.
Yeah. No, that's real. It's easy to be a parent. It's easy to be a mom or dad. It's hard to be a good mom or dad. And those are the things, those are the conversations that you have to have, you know what I mean, in order to do that. Yeah, Miss Diane. No mistoken support from the well of wisdom and have regrets later about conversations that would never. That's right. Yeah, that's real. That is so true. And that's true. We want to make sure that we do, especially when you think about it. Even if we feel like they don't hear it or they feel like, they know, you know what I mean? Or maybe, maybe they're a little standoffish in that way because they don't want to hear what we have to say. Look, here's the thing about that. They are different. Because the times are different.
And you make it safe for them to be a little softer.
Right. That's
like low key, because some of us, we didn't really have a choice. We was out there getting it out the mud.
Yeah. No, for real.
and that was hard.
Yeah.
But you love your kids.
Yeah.
And you made it safe.
Yeah.
You made it safer. So
Yeah.
they didn't have to come up like fighting and like cutting their teeth, right? The way we had
Yeah,
to.
it was, yeah.
Because we were there. We were like, nah, ours is not going through all that. We want them to learn, but they don't have to learn everything the hard way.
Yeah.
But we agree with you in some regards. They're not built the same way.
They built different. Yeah.
They did. Some of them didn't have to be as tough. So it's like that.
Yeah.
Because we have said that. Like, I don't want my man, I didn't have my, like, I don't want you walking down the street at night. And I think how many times we walked from downtown back to the east side.
Man, downtown San Antonio, I was like, nah, didn't catching that last bus
and had to walk and was like 15.
Man,
I wish I
wouldn't even know what they doing.
I would not have my 15-year-old walking around the way people are paranoid and be shooting, and I don't want nobody to, it's crazy out here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what were we doing? Because it was still crazy people. It was still homeless people downtown.
Yeah.
It was people strung out on drugs, people talking to themselves, swinging at the air. And we would just walk past and we would just cross the street and keep on going.
Man, yeah. No, for real.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, what a nightmare. I would not want that.
Lord, mercy took
right? But no, it
took me back for a minute.
No, it's facts. No, you didn't have to take us back like that, Adolph. You done made us go back.
Yeah.
Like 23.
Adolph is my boy, man.
Years.
I've been knowing Adolph since I think the 8th grade, bro. We've been knowing each other since the 8th grade. That's crazy.
So, y'all go back about 25, 26 years.
Yeah, man. Proud of you, man. Proud of you.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, husband, father, man, just continue to be intentional, man. And when you know that you have to sit down and have that conversation, whatever it looks like, man, just, create those moments and pour what's priceless, brother. You know what I mean? Pour what's priceless. Man, look, I know.
Ours too,
man. Like, and that's the blessing about where we are too, that our kids don't have to go through the things that we went through.
Every generation does better.
Just like our parents, like when I think about what my mom, how she grew up and how, I didn't have to come up in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so prayerfully, our grandchildren will have it in a different way as well. Yeah. But one thing that they will all have, that my mom gave to us, our moms gave to us, and that we're giving to our children, are those things that that we needed, right? The things that we needed to know, as far that made us, men and women of integrity, or at least honored those kind of things, and the loyalty, and just making sure that we understood
your parents
what
definitely
good character is about, right?
Yes,
we want those things to be passed down to our children,
absolutely,
as well, and our grandchildren. And so, but that comes from those conversations. Even when we see things, like, it might not even be nothing that they tell us, but sometimes, and I know our kids probably get tired of this when we do this, but if we're watching a movie, or if we're watching, a YouTube about something, we'll pause it and we'll just, whatever, if something's coming, if it's a little life lesson or something. I know our kids probably get tired of us doing it sometimes. I'm
like, wait a minute, you see that?
But we will do it. You know what I'm saying? See this right here. You see how they acting like that? How you doing this? I'm gonna tell you something.
But playing themselves.
At least those are times and moments where we can at least give them some little jewels or some gems that they may not feel like they need it at the moment now. But those will be those things that it'll come back to that they'll come back. It'll come back to them and they'll hear. Because I want y'all to know this. And I know we're kind of talking to parents right now, but our voice, your voice, no matter what it seems like, your voice is the most effective voice in your children's life.
Effective.
I'm telling you, it's the loudest, mamas and then dads, you know what I mean? But we want to, when they hear us building them up. They hear us giving them the best insight that we can give them. You know what I mean? We want them to hear us saying, man, I remember my dad said this. My mama told me, not to go there. My dad told me to look for this, and I see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we want them to hear. And so just be intentional about how we pour and what we share, when it comes to training our children. You know what I mean?
That's
And
good.
yeah,
That we too much alike.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adolf. It's
Yeah, man.
but
That's real talk.
it's a strategy.
Yeah.
And we like Keegan said, it don't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. And sometimes it can be something else, just educational. Like they'll say a word or name a place or something, and we like, that's actually in this country, or your daddy went there when he was traveling overseas, and like you'll pause and like, you see all this? I was actually on the water. All of them seals and stuff, or them dolphins, that's really like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even stuff like that, and they're like, oh, that's cool,
Right. Yeah. Give them perspective too.
Yeah.
Because this world for them, it's tough sometimes because
we're
I think
their window to the world.
We really are, because social media, especially for them, because they have their Snapchat groups, they got their TikTok little people that they listen to on TikTok and they learn from on TikTok. Not to say there's some people on TikTok that's legit, but there's a lot of junk on there, just on any social media platform.
Any platform.
But they have their little world that's shaping their perspective and their points of view, even for adults. You know what I mean? Like
in
certain
like
things,
10 seconds, and you can't even it's etched in your brain. And you put it in the back because the next video starts playing.
Right.
But those are little tiny seeds. There's subconscious seeds being dropped all the time.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have to turn up, not like actual volume in our kids. I'm not saying like yell, but we have to turn up the volume in terms of leaning into those conversations, because we share the internet with our kids. I just said this at a presentation that I was giving. And it came to me right in that moment while I was on a platform, and them people were like, you know what, you right. We share the internet with our kids, and we look at how fast and how many opinions come through, how many times you have to stop yourself from commenting or liking something or even getting involved because you're like, well, I'm about to get caught. This ain't none of my business. Like, let me get out of here. You trying to run, and you're like, I didn't even get here. Like the last video was about puppies. The other one was about an Amazon worker, getting left a Gatorade in a sandwich. And then I'm hearing something about something crazy, like a man needs to make $10 million in order to take you on a date. Like, how did I end up here? And it's just a lot of stuff that you have to filter, but we're good at filtering because we have life experience. So our brain has categories for that.
Yeah.
Our kids' brains don't have categories for things they haven't experienced. They create folders of everything that they hear. And they're like, oh, I didn't know about this, but now I do. I've never heard of this before, but now I know. Man, I ain't never heard this, but I can't unhear it. I never saw this, but now I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing. And so that's why we monitor even social media the way we do, but there's no amount of monitoring that we can do that stops our kids from accessing other voices. Yeah. And so because of that, our goal is not to completely shield them from everything else in the world, but it's to help give them something to compare it to.
Yeah, that's real.
So we have to say enough about certain things, and we have to live our life in a way that is an example on a level that when they see something different, they don't have to decide that we're right. They just need something else that's like, this is different, so that they know that nonsense is not normal. Toxicity is not normal. Abuse is not normal. Like certain things just don't need to be normal. And so we have to live our life and speak to them and teach them in a way that gives them at least some differentiation. Like, okay, so that's not everybody. That's some people. That's y'all.
Yeah.
But that ain't everybody, because I got something different and I've had a different experience.
Yeah. No, that's good. So many life lessons. They'll say, try to teach them about food and what's good and bad to eat. They try to hear.
Man, it's so true.
Yeah, keep telling them though.
Chemicals.
Yeah,
it's gonna come back.
It is, And like I say, some of the things our kids may feel like,
you're doing the most. You're doing too much.
Hey, it is what it is. Those are gonna be the things that they'll remember. Right. Yeah. But those are things that kind of keep us from saying like, I just don't want to. Let me just be quiet. Maybe I'm, but I did have a season in my life too where I did feel like I was talking too much, I had to dial it back a little bit and say, you know what, maybe they're hearing my voice a little too much. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not mad at them. I'm not going to be petty. I would still answer if they were calling me, but I was really short for a season, for a time, because I just felt like I needed to give them a different part of me, you know what I'm saying? And this, more my ear, I always listen, but I just felt like I was over talking, and it just felt like, at one point my voice just seemed, I don't know if
I mean, you told me you felt like it was getting dull.
Yeah,
like they
and
didn't. They need to miss my voice in order to appreciate it at this point, because they would. I mean, it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is like a knucklehead season, you know, for them, where it's like you feel like nothing's getting through, and it's like, you know what? Let me just let that marinate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like snow. It's gonna stick for a little while, and then once it melts, they'll get it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really clever of you to do that. And it didn't make them come to me more. It made them want to figure out why.
Yeah. And like I said, I wasn't
like they
petty.
couldn't put their finger on it because it wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
They
felt like let me just dial it back myself. And but anyway, you know, never underestimate the power of your voice.
You know,
matters. As a father, as a mother, you know, as
an auntie,
uncle, as a sister, brother, you know, for someone that listens to you, that your voice matters to them, you know, or you know, you have some influence. Pastor, she says this, and I love it. She said, when you know your words have weight, you weigh your words.
Bingo.
You know, and so just being intentional about weighing our words, you know, praying about what to say and how to say certain things, whether it's to your children, to a coworker, to somebody that you need to communicate with. That's important, you know.
True.
But yeah, it's all good, you know.
It's true. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
My wife they have to make mistakes to learn from it.
Yeah, you know, sometimes that's the case, especially when if they're gonna do it anyway. It's just like, I mean, they're gonna learn one way or the other.
Or both. Because sometimes they'll do it anyway, or they'll make their mistakes, but they still they recognize that it was a mistake because of the seeds, the words, and the lifestyle,
and that's
like the teaching that you've already taught them. So they need both.
That's real,
You won't be able to talk your kids out of making mistakes, but you can give them information that informs their decision making.
Yeah.
Because that's really what you want. You want them, when they make decisions, to have something to consider.
Yeah.
If they have no information, they don't have anything to pull from.
Yeah.
And they will learn everything the hard way.
No, that's real. And I was gonna say this, and you know, we'll say this.
Good. Like there's a balance there.
It is. I like that. I will say this. That's good. Understood. It's definitely a different way of parenting. I tell you, it's a different energy to parent adult children. It really is. But I was thinking a couple months ago, and I didn't even post this. I just recorded myself on the phone because I was thinking about it.
And I had a question for Anisha too.
Okay. I know sometimes, you know, I know I've said it, I won't say I won't generalize, but I've thought this. When you get out of my house, you can live how you want to live. You can do what you want to do. No, that's not what I want for my kids. Like,
I know.
I want them, I'm teaching them now, I'm training them now because I want them to make the good decisions and wise decisions when they leave my house. It's not just do it right now while you with me. Yeah. No, this is for life.
Training.
These are life skills, you know, but I know that I've heard that before. When you leave it, you can live how you want it. I mean, that is true, but I don't truly want that for my kids, for my children. I really do want them to live right, to have integrity. I want them to be reasonable, use wisdom, you know. There is a difference between, you know, right and wrong right now. There's a blurred line, you know, and so, you know, we've been talking to our children and our youth and students about making the wise choice, not even making the right choice, right? Because something cannot be wrong, right? It's not wrong to go to a party, but is it wise to go to this party because based you know who's going to be there, what they have going on,
how they like,
you know, party. What the deal is. Is it wise to go? Because it might not be wrong. You ain't trying to drink. You're not trying to get into that stuff, right? But is it still wise to go? You know, so it's different between right and wrong. I mean, right and using wisdom. But definitely wanting to pour into our children because I want them to do the right thing. When they leave from our you know, care and become adults and parents, you know, of the same. We want them to parent better than us, you know what I mean? But anyway, what question were you going to ask?
I was going to ask Nisha because when we think about our adult kids, like sometimes it's not even them like living like all reckless and stuff. Sometimes it's like the simpler things, like where they choose to live or jobs, or you're trying to give them advice like for an interview or helping them update a resume,
right,
or just like giving them life skill advice. And they really want to do it their way, but not because yours is wrong, just because they want to be able to make their own decision.
Yeah.
And you actually have to watch it. Like, the scenario, and you also know them. And by the way that they're talking, a lot of times you're like, man. And you try to ask the right questions that get them to kind of get to where they need to be. And there are moments where you watch it happen, or you hear back how, something turns out, and you can't say, I told you so, because a lot of times we're not telling them. And then there are other times where I've had to actually tell any number of our kids and say, what you're experiencing in this season is actually the fruit of what you sowed in the previous season. So when you didn't make the right decision in that season, or you didn't take our advice last June, here you are in November, and you got some ground to make up. You've got some ground that you have to gain again, because that would have set you up for now.
Yeah.
So now you want to reap the benefit, but you're going to have to work on it. And again, this is across the board. Any of our kids, now you got to work on it.
Yeah.
And you'll see the fruit of what you did in this season and next season if you make, the better decision now. Or even being in a place where we're like, well, are you open to some advice? Like knowing the difference. When are they calling to just tell us what they're doing? And when do they actually need advice?
Yeah.
I know that I have a hard time not giving unsolicited advice. I always give unsolicited advice. Always.
Oh my goodness.
That's interesting for me, but I'm learning how to practice. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What is your plan? What do you think, how do you think you should handle it? Or when things don't go right, like, what do you think happened?
Yeah, asking questions.
And trying to ask questions and become more curious, because I really am trying to think, because in my mind, I'm like, that's really not a good idea. But I want to know how you're thinking, because maybe there's just a slight fracture, or maybe something I don't know.
Yeah. But that's good though, because when you get to asking questions, even if we know, like, okay, this is not a good thing, but
this sounds
let me just
horrible.
Inquire a little bit. Let me be curious.
Yeah.
I know there's been conversations, that we've had, that as we ask those questions and they begin to talk about certain things, then low key they have begin to figure things out, like, okay, maybe that is a different way I need to think about this or go about this.
Right.
And then sometimes it's just like
that's what I'm doing.
That's what they're doing. I'm like, okay, you understand what you're doing, and especially if it's not to a detriment, like, what I'm saying, it's like something where you got to go experience. It's not gonna kill you, but I'm not going to grieve and stress myself out about something that I know you've already got your mind made up to do.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
That's another thing, but no, you're spot on for that. That's good. So you want to read this?
Yes. Okay. Got you, sis. For me, it has been the lack of motivation and communication on the part of your adult child. I'm assuming they think they know everything, and you're thinking, child, that ain't going to work. But you have to let them make the decisions and learn. Yes. So we were right on the same thing. It's kind of it's the same struggle, but it's also an opportunity. Like I said, admittedly, I'm learning more about how my kids think by what comes out of their mouth when I'm willing to ask questions, because I found that before, and I know my tone of voice doesn't matter as much because they know my tone of voice. So it's not like, oh, it's how you say it. It's not really a big deal. I talk to them like I'm talking to y'all, and I ask hard questions all the time.
Yeah.
But the point is, even if they don't have a solid answer, most of the time, I just really want them to think about it. I ask them questions that I know they need to consider anyway in order to make a good decision, or to make the best decision for this particular, scenario that they found themselves in. And so it's helping me to get to know them and how they think. And I think they're starting to realize, one, I'm probably always going to give some level of unsolicited advice. But I am adding more questioning and not questioning in terms of like, well, why are you going to do that? Or why do you think that's a good idea? Because I also know that insinuates that I think that they're incompetent. And that's not the message I'm trying to send. Whatever they decide on, I do want them to feel confident in it. But I want them to be confident for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Because you can make a bad decision and feel very good about it, like before the outcome occurs.
That's true, yeah.
And so I don't want you to be so headstrong on a bad idea. I want you to just really think about it and then be confident and be able to own it, whichever way, the pen drops. So yeah. And sometimes even I found that lack of motivation and communication about certain things, I think it could, I have felt like sometimes it could be me, maybe I'm just a mite bit intimidating. Like they know they don't have it all figured out, but they really don't know what to say. But I didn't ask them a follow-up question from like a previous conversation. Like, so what about this?
Yeah.
And they don't know what to say. Sis, listen, we might just have to do like a night when we're just talking about being parents of adults and young adults.
Yeah.
Because it's so much to unpack. And I'm not saying I have the answers. I actually think that you and I and probably some others were kind of thinking the same thing. Like me, you, Keedron, your husband, other parents on here are thinking some very similar things because it is different. It's a different way of parenting. And then to a certain degree, some days I'm like, I done completely took my hands all the way off. Yeah. And other days I'm like, I'm going completely in.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
what's the plan?
Yeah,
let's talk about the plan.
Yeah, because there does come a time where it is like that, and sometimes I know I've asked, "Do you want to know what I think about this?"
Yeah, I've definitely heard you ask.
That's a couple of times, not all the time, because definitely try to just let them talk themselves, talk through it. Plus, I want to hear what they're thinking and how they're thinking about it. But like you say, being curious. Asking questions, and there are some times where I will flat out say, this is not a good idea. I don't think this is what
facts
you should do.
Facts. How many parents know? Like sometimes you're like, oh no, this is not it.
Yeah. Sometimes, you're going to do what you
do whatever you want.
I just feel like, yeah,
like,
and other stuff are just like,
not going to be the one.
Okay. But it's important, especially for our young men, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, and that's definitely for the girls, but it's different for sons. That I feel like it's not a double standard because we had to talk to our daughter about that. But as far as preparation, expectation, and then just the way that things, just understanding wise. But anyway, making sure that a plan. Everybody need to have a plan. Regardless, male, female, adult, young adult. Like it's okay if you want to talk through that. You need, a decision on what you're doing in your life. If you want things to be different, you do have to have a plan, or at least talk through something to see to see what can be done, even if it's just one step.
Right. Right.
But just asking and just saying, hey, what is it that you're trying to do? Let's talk about that. But also being willing to say, I'm going to take my hand off this one and truly be unbothered. Truly be unbothered. It's not easy all the time, but there's been a couple times where I was like, all right, look, I am unbothered by what you choose to do. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you what I feel, but I am unbothered by your decision because the thing about it, I know the outcome. Yeah. I know what the outcome will be if you choose this path, and you're gonna be all right. You ain't gonna like it.
Yeah, but
you're gonna be all right. You're gonna live.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if it's to a detriment, I will
shut it down.
Do my best to say no, this is not the way you should go.
Right.
In a forceful way because we want our children to be safe and good.
Right.
But if it's somewhere I'm like, you ain't gonna like this outcome.
Gonna like this in 2
but you're gonna be all right. Yeah. And I'm gonna be unbothered by it because this is what you choose.
Wow.
We have to have those moments because that's when they will learn. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you do have to have a plan. And low key, like you said, a backup plan too. What if this doesn't fall through? Then what else?
Right. because it's not the end.
It's
Just you
not.
were saying, it's not. It's definitely not the end.
Yeah,
Can we get
yeah.
to this one?
Let me see. I think so.
No, I don't think
Oh
so.
yeah, no,
And
no.
it's
Oh yeah,
different.
yeah.
And it's different because our parents were different with us as young adults. So for me, there's no reference point.
Understood.
No,
Yeah.
we understand
Definitely
that
get
too.
that. Yeah.
Look, most of us know, like, we're figuring it out as we go.
That's so true. Yeah.
We're literally and our first kids, we figuring it out with them 1st, right? Those first adult kids are getting a lot of that, energy that we can give to them. Like, we're invested and we want to talk about, we want to see them, do well. And so we pour our best into that. I think even with a point of reference, and I could be wrong, even with the point of reference, when we figure out just how different we are from our parents and how different our kids are in some ways from us, it still can leave you feeling like we got to figure this out together.
Yeah.
Like, there was one season where we were telling our kids, like, okay, we need to have grace for one another.
Yeah.
Because y'all have one mom and one dad, and y'all are constantly changing. And the minute we figure out this phase, y'all are going off to the next phase. And then you're not going off to the next phase. It's for y'all. So you're going to another phase, you're going to another phase, you're going to another phase, and you're going into another phase. And even though we're still growing, we're not evolving at the same rate y'all are, because we're kind of stabilizing. We're leveling out, who we are as adults and as people, as parents, as leaders. We're kind of leveling out. So we're growing like this, but I mean, they can literally go from like January to February like this,
Yeah, for real.
And we're still scratching our head like, wait a minute, and I make this joke all the time, like when Zoe was going from like not liking cheese to liking cheese, or liking like yellow cheese on, not wanting yellow cheese on a hamburger, but liking white cheese on a pizza. But then like to eat plain cheese slices.
Right.
It was just like a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? What is happening? Do you like cheese or do you not like cheese? Because you cannot freak out when I make you a turkey and cheese sandwich. And I was like, but I don't like cold cheese. And I'm like, but you ate a mozzarella stick that comes out the fridge.
Oh my goodness. Or the bean thing. Like, she don't like chili beans or anything like that, but she will eat a bean and cheese sandwich.
She will eat a bean and
cheese taco. I'm bean and cheese sandwich.
She will eat refried beans and shredded cheese in a taco. But if she has to wash dishes,
absolutely loads.
She will cash app her brother to rinse out a bowl or a pot that had beans cooked in it.
The other day, when you made tacos, we had refried beans, and the thing was in the microwave just for the moment.
Yeah.
I'm in the kitchen. She opens up the microwave and she don't even want to touch the bowl of beans. Like, she doesn't even want to touch it. So she's just like, can you get that from me?
Just real calm, like that's normal. That's not normal. It's in Tupperware. Just.
But if I go to the taqueria, she wants a bean and cheese taco.
She wants to.
You know,
we don't get it. Like. So we're saying all that to say, it's all these different levels, but we understand because our parents were very different. I don't have a lot of the same conversations. I do say things that my mom said to me, to my kids, and there's like a good handful of like some solid things that were true then, and I didn't get it, and they're true now, and my kids are just starting to get it. But I'm like you, like, there's no book, there's no blueprint. We're just figuring these people out, and they feel like strangers.
Right.
It's like, I have a kid who hates tomatoes but loves spaghetti. We have one too.
Yeah. I'm the only one in this house right now that I eat tomatoes on sandwich. I gotta have tomatoes on my sandwiches and stuff like that. But yeah, they will eat spaghetti.
They'll eat my lasagna. They love pasta.
They love pasta. Yeah,
they will eat lasagna, baked ziti.
But do not put a tomato on their hamburger, tomato on their tacos.
Don't let it touch their bread. Get their bread a little bit soft. I mean, it's just like when I cut tomatoes, even for tacos, like the tomatoes have to be all the way separate. They can't be in a big Tupperware, like tomatoes cut up on this side, like diced tomatoes on one side and shredded like spinach or romaine lettuce on this side. They have to be in two separate containers. They don't, and it's okay, but figuring that out is tricky. And those are with the little things. So I feel you on like the big
Yeah.
things that it's like.
And I think it'll always be like that too. Like
Yeah.
even like our oldest son,
Yeah, we done figured that
like
out.
understanding too, right? Yeah, that he's becoming a man, and there are certain
Yeah.
ways and certain things
And
that
he's a good man
he's
too.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah, he's a good guy.
but just ways that he's thinking that, not thinking like a teenager anymore, or or like how I knew how he would respond to certain things. There are some
Right.
things that won't change, that haven't changed, but there's some
Right.
other things that as I'm listening and talking to him and
He's
watching him,
sounding more and more
I'm like, man, this is different. Like he's different. He responds in different ways.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's always been like that, but now,
You're listening
he's
more.
coming to his own and is bold enough to,
That's a good
speak
point.
the way that,
He was always thinking.
he was always thinking,
Yeah.
so that's an adjustment, for me as well. You know what I mean? That's funny.
I'm like, no
Yeah. But they change, and we have to be
Yeah.
flexible in that way to understand that they won't be the same, just like their friends. And we'll get ready to close out here on this too, but some of their friends, like some of the friends that we like that our kids have had,
Yeah.
and it's just like, hey, where's Chris at, or where's John at, or where's Michelle at, or whatever their names is.
Right.
And they're like, we're not friends anymore. I'm like, but that was a cool kid. Like that kid,
Right.
it was just like, well, we just,
Or they'll tell us like,
it's
actually,
things have changed,
they
and
live a different life now.
yeah.
Like,
But we are still thinking that this has been your best friend since kindergarten.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all
What happened from 6th to 7th grade, or from,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's changed for them. And so for us, we have to be more like, open and understanding, like that their life is changing as they're growing and they're shifting, to understand too, that they're coming into their own, they're recognizing certain things.
Yeah.
And so we have to be, watchful in that way too. And it's not easy. Lord have mercy.
No, listen.
Always get that.
I heard, and look, we got a good dialogue and conversation here going. I hope everyone listening and participating, like y'all get that. What we're not saying is that it's easy. We're not like we understand.
We're working through it.
But we're parenting just like everybody else. And that's what we've always tried to say. As long as we've been in children's ministry and youth ministry, we have been doing the same thing that you're doing for your kids. You just want them to be healthy and to know that they're loved and make good choices and get a good education and know the Lord and know the foundational principles, like how to pray and all those different kinds of things. Like we have wanted the same thing. So I maintain we have done for your kids what we are trying to do for ours, but we will never say that we have it figured out. We have experience.
Yeah.
And as we're growing in experience, we just keep talking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
We just keep sharing it in hopes that like maybe you'll be encouraged and know that like it's not just you. You're not out here by yourself. You didn't do anything wrong as a parent. Look, if you missed it, we missing it too, because we're having similar experiences. Yeah. And so I don't think any of us are missing it. I think the fact that men and women, mothers and fathers can get on a public platform, or it's kind of a private room for us, but a public platform, and really say like, we're still trying to figure it out. Yeah. We want to do the right things. We want to make good choices for our families, but we're still figuring out. Yeah. That's a good thing.
That's okay.
And we're so grateful that this community that we're trying to build with Talking with the Boston, that it feels safe like that. Like there's no judgment here,
not at all,
especially not from us. And we've not seen any issues in our comment sections either, because I'll cut that stuff off real quick. I told y'all on the first episode, we are not tolerating that. Like this needs to be a spot where we can like just be ourselves. Yeah. Like if you can't be yourself nowhere on the internet, you can at least be 75% of yourself on here and say like, I'm just trying to figure it out too. Yeah. And know that you have two other people that are doing the same. We're figuring out marriage still after all these years, after more than 2 decades, we're figuring out relationshiping and our parent relationships, our sibling relationships, our kids' work, just navigating life, in-laws. We're still figuring all that stuff out and doing the very best we can. And that's all we can encourage anyone to do. Just keep trying. Don't stop trying.
For sure.
No matter how hard it gets. And if it gets that bad, DM us and we need to have a conversation. We'll have a conversation. We'll talk trash about these kids. You hear me? Look, forget them kids. No.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't see that coming, right?
That's funny.
Get them kids. We out here trying to survive these
Leah.
children.
Survive.
We trying to survive these kids. So you know, this has been good. Y'all are dope. And look, pray for us too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please do. Yeah, because we can't do this without the Lord.
No.
Without God, Lord have
Man.
mercy. Like this would our life, you know, and you know, definitely got to say that. Like
we don't
our
do
life
a thing
would
without
be
him.
different. I couldn't see trying to do this without the Lord,
No.
without having faith and having that hope.
Yes.
Even just guidance and people that have prayed for us, you know, the prayers that we pray, you know what I mean?
And have been a part of our village and helping us, you know, being positive.
For sure.
Oh, have y'all seen the new Obama movie?
No, we haven't seen it. I don't think
have you seen it? Is it good?
Yeah.
Is it something we should watch over break? Where can we find it?
On Netflix. Yeah, let us know about that because I haven't seen it. If y'all in the comments and y'all watching too, comment to that. No, I didn't know. I didn't know that there was a movie out.
You know, there was some type of documentary he was doing where he was taking people lunch and stuff.
Okay. It's on Netflix.
Is it that?
Is it that one?
Is it where that one, Adolph, where he was like going by and talking to like everyday people?
Yeah.
And then it was one where he was being interviewed by some guy too that was like cracking jokes and being real silly. And all that.
Okay, so I think it is. So we watched a little bit of it. I don't think we got a chance to finish that one.
So we need to get back to it.
Because it was interesting. Like
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, that's good, man. Yeah, if there was something that made you think of that, Adolph, put that in the comments too. That something maybe that we said that we've talked about today that made you think about.
Yeah, made you put the connection.
That'll be good. Share that because
on Netflix.
You know, anything that's going to add value to
all of
our lives and just try to, you know, like you say, we're doing the best we can to do for our children,
and
for our families, for ourselves. Yeah. You know, having a growth mindset and trying to make sure that we're not being stagnant either. Like, how can we grow better?
Yeah.
You know, how can we grow more even as people? You know, he says called Leave the World Behind. Oh yeah, we have seen that. I didn't know that was Obama's movie.
No, we watched that.
We did watch that.
We did.
Yeah, we did watch that, man.
Okay. Yeah. Five more minutes.
Yeah.
5 more minutes.
Yeah. I'm about to say we got to do a whole review.
No,
of that.
because it was.
We did see that. We watched it the other day.
We'll do a review.
Yeah.
Just comment. But I'll make an initial comment. I almost didn't watch it because I saw a lot of social media review people on my timeline mention it and say they didn't like it, they hated the ending, and that was mostly what I got. A lot of people saying that they didn't like the ending, but Kedron saw who the actors in the movie was, and he kind of put me on, was like, well, do you think that like they would really be in it if it was like that bad? And then we were at Olive Garden, we had lunch. Shout out to Olive Garden. People be sleeping on y'all. We love Italian places. There are a lot of nice Italian places, but still Olive Garden, I needed soup that day. So he took me to get soup. Yeah. But so she was she waited on us. Very nice lady. We had a long conversation with her too. She's awesome. But she put us onto it. And this is what she said. She said, go ahead and watch it, but you have to pay attention as you're watching the movie. Most people who didn't understand the ending is because they didn't understand what was happening in the movie. So the ending didn't come together for them. But if you really are insightful while you're watching it, you'll understand why the ending was the way it was. Yeah. And so I don't want to give any spoilers, because if you haven't seen it, want to see it, have been on the fence about it, we want you to watch it for yourself and give your own opinion. But we didn't feel, we found our own review, based on what our waitress told us and based on the reviews that we had heard, some people in the timelines. And then when I started looking at, who some of those people were, I'm like, okay, I can see from your perspective, this season of your life, maybe your age and your experience, maybe you listened or you had, a different perspective on it. Yeah. And it was important that we shaped our own. So I do think that it's worth watching. I'm not going to say whether we thought it was good or bad. I think it's worth watching for yourself, because I do think that. And there were some amazing actors and actresses, leading actors and actresses in this movie that I think that's enough.
Yeah. No, that's real, man. You know, sometimes we are evil to each other. Like, you know, sometimes like when we see these comments and we see videos and we see how people treat people, like how we treat each other sometimes, it is sad. Like,
and that's just a small part.
And
that's giving away nothing.
But just real life, but just right. You know, even just real life.
Part, and it was big.
Yeah, you know.
A big moment.
But I think it's almost kind of like a low key. I don't want to say a mirror, but
it was holding a mirror to you. Like while you were watching the movie, you couldn't watch it without it feeling like a mirror, not just to your life, but to the world that you live in.
Yeah.
And it gave that sense of perspective, and it showed multiple lenses throughout the movie that I think helped. And I don't think it was confusing. It's not one of them things where you like, don't move. I think you do need to pay attention.
Yeah.
Like don't be on your phone while you're watching the movie. Hint. Don't be on your phone. Watch the movie. And I think if you do that, you'll come away with your own perspective, even if it's just parts that you're like, that resonated with me. So I'll say that because again, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I don't want to sway anybody's opinion either way.
But I'm glad we watched it. You know,
I was glad we watched it, and I think we should like actually have a talk about it. So maybe in January, maybe we'll give y'all till January.
Yeah.
You know, so you can have some time because everybody, you know, is working and moving around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if y'all watch it, if you're watching tonight, if you're listening to us tonight,
and
you have seen it or you do end up seeing it.
Post about it. Let us know what you think about it.
Yeah, because if we get 3 people that are willing to get on and talk about it, that would be enough to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
We just don't want to be the only ones talking about it, and then we end up spoiling it, and then nobody else had time to watch it. You see what I'm saying? So
we'll give them a little time to watch it.
Yeah.
But thanks for bringing that up, Adolph. Yeah. That's good stuff. Next Sunday is Christmas Eve, so we won't be on next Sunday. We won't be live next Sunday.
Right.
And we'll
family time.
Well, we may catch them. Well, I guess the Sunday after that is New Year's Eve. We might be on New Year's Eve.
Well, we won't be on New Year's Eve because we'll be at
we
church.
Do have a night service too.
We have a night service at our church.
Wow.
So we won't see you for won't see you for a little while. But you know what we always say? Adolph said he's down to do a review.
That's what's up, Adolph. Cool.
So we'll post. You're probably, I don't know, is Adolph watching from Talking with the Boston's group or from your page?
He might be watching from my page
because we might have to get you in a Talking with the Boston's group too, so that you can chime in there, and we know like for sure.
Yeah, we'll get you on there,
that you're there. So we'll make sure that you're in. We'll send you an invite or something. But so the next 2 Sundays are pretty much like the holiday kind of Sundays. So we are going to reserve those for our family. We do believe in having, those comfortable boundaries for them. But in the meantime, you can still post and message us in between. Like tell us that you watched it. If anybody is struggling, like during the holidays, and you're like, I'm in a bad space right now, still reach out to us.
Yeah.
If we see that message, we will respond to you.
For sure.
If we see that message, we will absolutely respond to you. We're not going to leave you hanging on some family time stuff. We know how to, separate that and give somebody who really needs us, a moment of our time, to really make sure that you're good. Don't play with us on our time. But if you need us, like for real, y'all know, y'all understand what I'm saying.
For sure.
Reach out. Don't feel afraid to do that just because we're saying that it's, holiday time. It is our family time, but we never just gonna act like we don't see somebody that's like reaching out for help. We don't, or just need somebody to say, I see you. Are you good? Everything's gonna be all right. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Happy holidays to you too, Adolph.
Thank
man.
You.
We appreciate y'all.
Same to
for
you.
tuning in. But no, you're absolutely right.
We gotta get Zoe.
Yeah. So we will see y'all next year. Hey, but we have some cool. I'm super excited about what we're doing and just how we're leveling up and how we're next year is going to be really good.
Yeah, we're going to have some more fun.
Definitely have some more fun.
Thank y'all for
have some more conversations. We're super excited about that. And if you're Talking with the Boston's group, thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for subscribing to YouTube. If you're not subscribed already to YouTube, hop over to With the Bostons and subscribe on YouTube for us with us. We want y'all to join that community as well as we continue to grow. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we're praying for you guys. We pray that y'all have a great Christmas season. Be safe.
Yes.
God
cover you and keep you in
yes.
Jesus' name.
Be intentional. Make memories with your family.
Yes.
Like the young folks say, lock in. You know what I mean? Those moments, you
I
only
know
got
this
one
is
day.
you.
Take one day at a time. Right? You know what I mean? When you think about it, make memories with your loved ones. Check on your loved ones. I know I have a lot of that to do. Myself. But we love y'all and thank y'all for just rocking with us. We're so grateful that y'all are part of this community, and we're gonna continue to grow with each other. Do you have anything else you want to say before we
No, this was fun for someone who we got on with like, yeah, we're not gonna be on that long.
I know, right?
Y'all didn't know that, but that's what we said internally. And this is probably like one of our longest live sessions, but we facilitate it, y'all shape it with us. And so we've enjoyed our time with y'all. So God bless you. God bless you. God keep you and make his face to just smile upon you, and anything that's on your heart for what you want to see in the next year, I would just challenge you to give that to God. Start fresh.
Yeah.
I'm not saying start a resolution. I'm saying start fresh. Whether you starting today, if you start today, you still got 300. Well, you still gonna have 365 more days. For a full year to work that out with him. But if you want help, if you want support and guidance and wisdom, he will help you.
That's true.
The Bible does tell us that if you seek after wisdom and cry out with your heart, she will find you. And he also refers to wisdom as a woman. So, but if you want wisdom, if you want his guidance, he will help you if you ask. He gives it freely. Liberally. We're still asking for it. Okay. I still ask for it regularly.
Real talk.
So just want to encourage you. It's not too late for you. It doesn't matter where you are and whatever season you are in your life. God loves you, and there's still a plan and a purpose for you. And there was a reason why you got on this live tonight. And however you're connected to us, there's a reason why we're still connected in this way. We know you can vouch for our character, and we can vouch for yours. So with that being said, I am officially done talking.
That's good. Hey, that was good. Love y'all. And we will see y'all. Oh, I love you, girl. Sure. And we'll see y'all next time. All right.
Bye, guys.
Peace.